Lewis called his ex-pot dealer, and he goes, "Hey, did you my girlfriend when you came over to deliver weed?" And he goes, "Yeah, I did." And he goes, "I knew it. Thanks, man. Thank you." On my bed? He goes, "Yeah, it was on your bed." I was like, that's what heaven is. Finding out when your weed dealer your chick on your bed and wipes his on your pillow.
And people get offended
by what?
By finding the positive in anything.
It's crazy. It's rebellion now.
It's rebellion.
Because it's such a negative world. We're all so pushed down by that phone and them trying to like throw you like anxiety and fear that if you're like, no, things are good, people are like, no, it's not.
My dad died in 9/11. Now I'm talking Ari Shaffir.
Whose people planned it.
Yeah. What's up, y'all? It's David. This is Dead Talks. Today's guest, stand-up comic Ari Shaffir. So cool to sit across from him. I followed him for such a long time. It was a blast to have this podcast with him. He's hilarious on and off the mic, super cool dude. He doesn't need much of an introduction, but for those of you that may not know who he is and have been with this channel for a while, he's a stand-up comic, and you know I like my dark humor, so we went down the rabbit hole, so do not get offended. Or maybe this isn't the episode for you. I hope you enjoy the ride. He's got a brand new special out called America's Sweetheart on Netflix. I watched it about a week before we did this recording. It's hilarious. I hope you go check that out. And for those of you that are new to the channel, if you like what I got here, consider subscribing or following me along this journey because, hey guys, this is my life now and I would love for you to be a part of it. For those of you that have been here on the journey, thank you again. I'll stop talking. Let's get into the show. All right, thanks for coming on here.
Drugs and death are a great combo.
Double D's.
Yeah, I was doing mushrooms with my buddy. I got one friend he was like, I've never smoked weed or done mushrooms. And I was like, I want to do an experiment. I want you to do mushrooms before weed. Like, no one's done that.
Has anyone done that?
No, just this guy. And he was like, okay. I'm like, hey, you're not smoking, are you? Like, every time I saw him, he goes, no, not yet. I'll wait.
How'd it go?
Okay, until, and this is why I bring it up, he thought about his parents. And he goes, oh, parents are great. He goes, yeah, we're all getting older. I'm getting their age. And he goes, and then that means they're further away from my age. He goes, they're going to die at some point. And then spiral.
That's the spiral.
Yeah, spiral, crying.
The mic's running away from you.
It keeps trying to run.
You want to maybe lock that little middle part up? Is that it?
This?
Is that a middle? Whatever. I'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
I'm curious. I know you're obviously into mushrooms.
Yeah.
Did that play a role in anything in regards to your beliefs through death? Because I feel like you had a long journey to what you believe now.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. With the insignificance of humanity.
Is that where you're at?
Yeah. When you like do heavy mushrooms or the first time you do it anyway, I got to up my dosage. I'm too used to what I got, so I'm always getting almost there. But I'm like, this got me there once, and it's like, yeah, you're just bigger now.
When you say got you there, to what?
To where you're like on the ground, like gone, and then you like come back. It's like 20 minutes later, you look at your friend, you're communicating without words, like, oh my God, because I'm like, oh, that's right, and then that's right, yes, see ya, and then you go back out. Yeah.
It's honestly the best. I did mushrooms with my buddy a year ago, and we were trying to have an experience because we were both in really weird places thinking that was going to be our savior.
Yeah.
We were in different rooms doing the exact same thing. I'm skipping a lot of points, but we both had our face against a mirror without knowing it.
Oh.
I was having this mirror experience. My face literally pressed against it without any context. Went to the other room to find him. He was doing the exact same thing in the other room, and then he fell off saying he met God.
Oh.
I don't think he met God, but he was very convinced he met God.
He might have.
But not in your experience.
I didn't see your friend.
That's God that I'd rather end it all right now, to be honest.
Yeah, I was doing DMT in the backyard. I had a little backyard for a while. Oh, I love that place. The neighbors kept throwing cigarettes down there. I have to go door to door. I'm like, hey, can you stop throwing cigarettes in my yard? They're like, I don't smoke. And then I got to who it was, and I was like, knocked. I could see them come, the keyhole. It's New York. And I was like, hi, I'm your downstairs neighbor. And they just wouldn't answer. I'm like, anyway, I could definitely hear you there. So can you stop throwing trash in my yard? And they stopped. But anyway, so I was doing DMT on a bed of weed and me and this chick, God, that joke was crazy and hot. And
that's the best, right?
She loved the fucking bathrooms.
She used to love the bathrooms?
The fucking bathrooms.
Oh, okay.
Not
Same thing,
not the fucking bathrooms.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, I was like, I got close and I saw this like caterpillar. It was like a hexagon, like this big. And then it was like a bunch of those. So it was like this caterpillar that size with like a bunch of hexagons kind of came down off a branch and like looked at me for a second. And then just goes, no. And then turned around and went back up. And I was like, what? And then I got back out of it. It's like 10 minutes, but it like feels way, way longer. And then I was like, oh. And then I got out of it. I was like, damn, I was like, close. I didn't get there. She goes, I died and came back. And I was like, you got there.
What do you think that is, though? Okay, so if you don't believe, you believe in insignificance, nothing happens. Am I correct by saying that?
I'm at the I think there needs to be another category of God. There's belief, there's atheist, agnostic, right? Which is like, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There needs to be another one where it's like, who's even talking about that?
But isn't there like 10,000 religions? So is it way beyond that? Or you just kind of just...
Well, it's like believe in God, don't believe in God, don't know. But there needs to be another one where it's like, I don't care. It's like, who's your hockey team? Like, I don't follow it.
Maybe that's
I'm not even talking about that.
It's just the Ari group?
Yeah. So it's that. I'm like, I don't know. Who gives a fuck? No one knows. But there's some shit going on. Might be your mind. Might not.
And is that what you think mushrooms falls in? You think it's just strictly biological? You don't think it's like a portal or some shit?
I think it's sort of a portal to God, but I don't know what God is.
I don't know.
I think it's like when you're sitting across from a prisoner. My Jewish friends won't understand this.
But like Jewish friends won't? Or won't?
Won't. Okay. Yeah. So if someone's been arrested, I guess maybe they will if you have a dad who embezzled. But they're sitting behind the glass and you can't talk to them until you pick up the phone. Mm-hmm. That guy's God and the phone is mushrooms.
Okay. Yes. It's a phone call.
Yeah. So your friend probably did talk to him.
Yeah, but he thought God was in the mirrors. He started talking. This is Jake. Jake, if you're watching this, he believed that all the answers were in the mirror. So when it's stuff like that, I feel like it's just fuzziness. We're kind of getting parts of the equation.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like religion is. Maybe I'm way off. I feel like, there's so much weird shit in every religion.
Yeah.
And maybe there's some truth way back when, but then it just got convoluted.
You know about Baha'i?
About who?
Baha'i, the Baha'i faith.
Did you really just bring that up?
No. What are you talking about? Bring what up?
Because I found that out literally a week ago doing some research. Yeah. And the way they described it, I feel like was perfectly in line with what I believe.
Yeah.
Does that if that makes sense.
Yeah. Rainn Wilson's a big Baha'i guy, I just found out.
And it was discovered, I think, like a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah, they said that all the commonalities between religions is probably the truth straight to God. Everything else is like, it changed.
That's how I feel.
You know how like Canadian French is like closer to the real French than France French?
Yeah, okay.
And the same thing with like Icelandic is closer to the old Norwegian than Norway because they kept updating.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah, and then Iceland got stuck in a time.
And then I guess it just gets convoluted by man.
Yeah, right. So like somebody came in and translated and the mistranslated the telephone game.
It's literally telephone.
Yeah, but you're like, if you see like thou shalt not kill, or don't kill, whatever. It's like, oh, that's almost every religion has that. It's like, that's probably straight from God. But like, don't mix cotton and linen.
Don't be gay in Christianity, like things like that.
That's in almost all of them too.
Yeah.
So,
okay.
Yeah, that's probably, it's not, you don't want to brag about that one, but that's probably true. It's probably straight from God. This guy was a homophobe. Or he loved dick so much that he was like, just don't have it around me.
It's like the neighbor in American Beauty.
Yeah. Yeah, it's how I am with gummy bears.
Go on with that.
I'll just eat all like if I get high and I come home, I'll eat 10 packs. So I'm like, you can't have it at the house. Okay. That's what God is. God's like, dude, I love cock so much. I just can't have it around me.
You know what? I'd be stoked to find out if God was gay. I'd be super stoked about that.
How wild was that, babe?
That'd be amazing.
If it was like a post-prep God. Where he's like, oh, in heaven there is no time, so we had prep always. So I was just blowing loads in asses without condoms for like a long time. I was like, go ahead, put that bug in me. I can't get it.
And that reminds me of that bit you had in your Jew special. Did you say something about Adam, and you're telling that story about when the next hole was created, the front vagina? Was that what it was?
Front butt. Front butt. Yeah, because they had just a dick, and he was like, how would I fuck? What do you mean?
If you guys have no clue what the hell we're referencing, just go watch his Jew special because that was fantastic. And again, congrats on the new special.
God created it. Adam's like, I want to fuck. I got to fuck, right? I have a libido. And so I'm fucking all these animals. And God's like, oh, no, don't fuck the animals. And he's like, what? And he goes, no. He goes, well, who should I fuck then? He goes, oh, damn, my bad. All right, I'll make another person. And he's like, sick. But he had no concept of a woman because there was never any. So he's like, I just imagine a man. He's like, I know how to fuck that. And he's like, oh, no. We're going to make a different butt for you to fuck.
If anything, the creation of Adam aligns with what we're talking about. Maybe God was gay.
Maybe God was gay. He only wanted dudes, hot dudes with no clothes.
You think Adam was hot? I wonder. Where does Adam and Eve come from? I know you're part of Judaism, so I don't know if you know, but where does that originate? Like, where does that come from?
Adam was made.
Right, he's made and they...
Adam was made during the original, and then Eve was made post, but then like he ran out of time to make a brand new thing, so he had to
How do
do
you
it
run
out
out
of
of
some.
time?
It was like I could only do this in 6 days, and then it was like, oh, this is like a post. It's like afterwards, so he's got to make it with like a technicality from the rib or whatever.
Charles Manson.
Yeah, it was pretty dumb.
Not Charles Manson. Who's the other Manson? I'm looking at
Marilyn Manson?
Yeah, I was thinking Marilyn. Didn't he take out his rib? He took out his rib.
Oh yeah, that's what he said, so he could suck his own D.
Yeah, that's real. I always said that, but I wasn't sure if I was making that up.
I think it's a rumor.
It is, right?
I think so.
We'll fact check that later.
Well,
I'm not
look
doing
at
any
the
live
black
fact
guy for
checking right
Marilyn
now.
Manson facts. That's the wrong way to look.
Yeah,
I was like, maybe there, yeah. But yeah.
But I think it
As
keeps,
soon as I look back, I'm like, oh no, that's not the answer.
but it keeps going back to the same shit.
Marilyn Manson's a musician. He dressed up. Oh, okay.
Just to clarify, but it keeps going back to the thing. I think man just convoluted it, and when it comes,
What was that word you tried to use?
did I say it wrong?
I don't know what you tried to say.
Did I say it wrong?
I mean, way off. What'd
I've
you
been
say?
saying it for
No,
years.
Say it again.
Now I'm self-conscious.
You should be, because it was
10 minutes left.
crazy wrong.
Well, convoluted.
Oh, no, you got it. Where's the J coming in there?
The edible hasn't even kicked in. And I already fucking know words. Godspeed for anyone listening right
Convoluted.
now. All right, well, correct it for me.
Convoluted.
Oh, it's a V.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
guys. I didn't say I did well in school.
No.
That's why we're talking.
You said it so confidently, too.
Yeah, I did. That's I've been saying it for years like that. And I did the same thing, realization. This podcast is teaching me more because I've been saying trauma bond and I apparently had that wrong too.
Trauma bond?
Trauma bond. I thought it was just sharing a bond, like sharing a bond of the same trauma or like a trauma in general.
What is it?
It's trauma bonding through, I think, the exact same trauma you're currently going through, the trauma of the relationship.
Oh, interesting.
Is that correct?
I don't know. I hate
My whole life's a
trauma.
lie. Honestly,
Trauma's like a major plot point in every dumb movie now.
I've been saying convoluted.
Convoluted, yeah.
I feel like
I
we
mean,
should
now
end
you got to go back in time and figure out how many times you said that. And people didn't correct you. They just thought you were dumb.
That's worse.
Yeah, it's worse.
Well, maybe we just met, and I feel like you're my best friend already for correcting me. Jesus Christ!
Whenever I hear something like that, you got to be like, say that again. I better figure that out.
As soon as you said, I was like, I fucked up. There's no hesitancy there. So I want to go back to
but the mushrooms, when you can talk to God. Yeah, you can figure out. Yeah, I don't know, nature, whatever. Yeah,
I
you
think
can
it's
have a
just
connection
energy.
with them.
I think it's just an energy.
Yeah, it could be. But you see yourself being insignificant and like being a speck of sand in time, and then you're like, oh, this is meaningless.
That's what I'm concerned. Not concerned, but I ponder about that because I feel like we're insignificant but significant. But it's hard to feel significant when you're so small.
Right.
But you're still a part of it.
The first time I did mushrooms, I was with my buddy Pete, and we both had the same thing. Like we just kept going out in time and stare at ourselves. So you get smaller and smaller and smaller as you pan out. And you're like, oh, okay, this life is like, I'm one of a bunch of people just in this area. And then like one of even less people in like all of Los Angeles. It was in Santa Monica. And then like in time too, you're like, oh, it's nothing. It's like one little blip in like a couple thousand years. And I'm like, everything's meaningless. So I'm like, I should just be happy and hang out with my friends and just be cool. And then he had the same realization. We had wandered off from each other. And same realization, but he goes, oh, if everything's meaningless, there's no point to any of this. And he like started crying, got back together with a shitty girlfriend that he hated.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and then he went into like a 2-year depression. And I came out of it being like super happy. But from the same realization, like we're meaningless.
I could go either way.
Yeah,
They could
he
go
went the
either way.
bad way.
Yeah, because I've spoken to some atheists and they find more meaning in the thought that nothing happens. Because it's like, oh, this is all we get, might as well make it work. But then I look at the other side, like this is all we get and nothing means anything, then why am I such a good why do I try to be such a good person? But I guess that's just being human.
Yeah, I guess it's like selfish.
Which part?
Try to be a good person because it makes you feel good.
What if you're being a good person unselfishly? Is that possible?
I don't think so.
You think there's no such thing as a selfless act?
Yeah, I think you do it for the good feeling. Even if you're like a real Christian who like donates their time at a children's hospital. My buddy Steve, he feels good about it. He's like, no, that makes me feel good.
Yeah, I guess that's fine. I mean, even if it's selfless, still doing a good thing.
Yeah,
So
it's
I guess
still doing
what
it.
the difference?
There's 7 rules of charity.
Seven
remembering
rules
all
of
this,
charity.
7 like levels. I'm remembering all this Jew shit now. But like I forget all of them. But it was like the worst one is like you're giving charity to somebody and you're like, hey, I'm giving it to you. And then they see you giving it to you, and I see me giving it to you. So it's like, thank you. The next one up is like, I'm giving it to them. There's a couple I'm
You're only
skipping.
on number 2 right now?
What?
You're on number 2 right now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The next one is, I'm giving it to you, but you don't know I'm giving it to you. I'm just like, I put it in your wallet.
Sounds a little rapey.
Yeah, exactly. But I see you're going through a tough time. Like, I'm just going to leave $100 in your drawer. You don't have to know that I gave it to you.
That's selfless, kind of.
It's more selfless.
More selfless.
And then the highest one is, just take it out of my thing. Don't even tell me. Take it out of my account. Give it to the right people. So I don't even know I'm giving it. You don't know who's giving it to you. Those are the anonymous donors. That's the level 2 at like a hospital. But they're like, but the lowest level of charity is still great.
Right,
Even if you're like, hey, everybody, I'm giving this. It's still awesome. People shit on those people. It's still awesome.
Well, no, this might be, people might not like to hear this, but I was thinking about in regards to with these fires going on. It's amazing to see everyone's helping and stepping up and whatnot, but then I constantly see it on social media and I wonder how many people are doing it for some sort of clout.
Yeah. Remember those people helping in during the riots? During the Black Lives Matter riots, and they're like showing themselves with screwdrivers, like, look at me help, and taking a picture. Like,
is this a screwdriver?
Yeah, screwdriver.
Okay.
But it was like power drill. And it's like, see him helping. They take a picture. I'm like, here, you can have this back. They wouldn't even like use it at all.
Yes, and
they wouldn't even help rebuild anything.
After the video. But at the same time, it goes back to that step 1. Maybe that's number 1 charity. Okay, say people are doing the goodness of heart, which I think like
Mr. Beast, where it's like, I'm making people not blind.
Yeah.
Yeah. He goes, yeah, I'm doing it for fucking money.
Of course.
But it's like they're seeing now.
And it's still good.
Yeah.
Okay, that's level 1. I mean, the rest is just, it just goes to selflessness. So is number 7 completely selfish or is it selfless or is it just?
Yeah, that's like self because you don't even know you're doing it. So you're not getting anything out of it.
Can you even give an example of that?
It'd be like
you doing this podcast.
I'll get good numbers. Yeah. Anyway, what were we talking about?
Yeah. Well, okay. So you obviously were raised through Judaism, but then you had a moment where you just like checked out.
Yeah, I was done. I just didn't believe in it. I thought about it for the first time, really thought about it. And I was like, oh, I've never believed in this. I was just doing it because I was supposed to.
It wasn't because of the sinful chicken?
No, the sin chicken?
Sin chicken,
yeah. No. It was like, it was just like, I was thinking about a time where I was like tempted to do something that I knew was against God's law. And I was like, gonna do it. I almost got caught by somebody. It just like was like, I shouldn't be tempted to do this if I was like positive. It's not, there's a few sins you do where it's just a mistake. Yeah. Gossip. It happens before you even know it. You know, you're just not even aware you're doing. And there's some like where you're aware this is wrong. Stealing, like some, you know, you're like, screw it, that guy's not going to see. You know you're doing it, but you're still doing it and you're hoping not to get caught by the person.
Mm-hmm. And then you just...
That's like a lack of belief. If you knew God was like, hey, don't do that, you wouldn't do it.
Right.
So in that moment, you don't believe. Gossip's like, it happened, like, fuck, shit, sorry.
Yeah, it's a slip up.
It's a moment of weakness, yeah. But when you do it, when you know it's wrong and actively go into it, that's like you not believing that there's this omnipresent thing that's like, hey, don't do that.
Yeah, and that's the thing about religion that I don't identify. I was raised Catholic. I don't identify with that. But again, when you mention...
I love... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go on.
I just love the rape parts.
The rape
Catholicism. Parts? Yeah, that's my favorite of Catholicism. The rest I can throw out, but man, they're so unique with just that child rape stuff. They're like really the leaders in that.
For quite a while.
Yeah, but like the Protestants, every once in a while they'll get close, but then it's like Alabama football, you know? Once in a while they're not the champs, but they'll be right back.
But that's what I don't get with so many, especially Christianity. There's so many denominations.
Yeah.
But that comes from the same thing. So just within one religion, there's so many different beliefs.
So many.
That confuses me. So it's like, is everyone wrong or is everyone just it's just different information, but it's coming from the same place? I think all religions, in my opinion, if you went back enough, which we don't have enough text to even reference, I really believe it's all coming from one place.
Yeah, that'd be like straight from God. Right. Or one guy saying, here it is, or whatever, but one moment.
You know, what the hell's his name? Graham Hancock.
I've heard of him. I don't know his stuff.
I'm not going to be able, I can't even say convoluted, so take everything with a grain of salt.
You're crushing it, though. Look how much you shifted.
I'm a quick learner.
Yeah, okay.
I just needed someone to correct me.
That's great.
I'm not stuck to my ideas here. it was like gossip. I accidentally fucking said it, you know. Yeah. So I need someone like you. I'm actually pissed at my friends. Maybe I haven't used that word.
Yeah, they've never...
No, but I have friends that would tell me. Maybe I just don't use it as much as I think.
Yeah. It's not a normal word.
It's like I haven't gone skiing in 12 years. It took me a while to pick it up. Maybe that's not the right analogy.
No, it's good.
You got me there?
Yeah, I got you.
What the hell was I saying? Graham Hancock. So he studies a bunch of ancient history and search for ancient civilizations. And I'm starting to read one of his books, like from 95 or some shit. And he was referencing some people. I'm like scared to pronounce words now. The Viracocha from Peru, and the depiction of this mythology from their people seems exactly like Jesus Christ. And this was, I want to say either after, it might have been after Christ. I don't know if it wasn't at the same time, but it was a bearded man in a robe. He came to teach people about civilizations and ways to live. And he even had people go around the world speaking his word like disciples. And that makes me think, I was talking to my buddy, do you believe, it's a question because I obviously don't know. Do you think Jesus was the first, was like Jesus the only one? Maybe there was just like Jesus is real and maybe his miracles are real and all this, the reincarnation. But what about prior to that, with all this history we don't know about humans, maybe that was the second coming.
I had these Protestant friends in college and they were like praying for me. And I was like, I thought it was funny, praying for me to find Christ. And I'm like, what if I don't? They're like, we hope you do. I'm like, what if I don't?
What if they don't?
They do. They did. It's two sisters. And they're like, we just hope you do. And eventually I'm like, but what happens if I don't accept Jesus? And they go, you will go to hell. And I'm like, it's okay. So here's my problem. You guys, your parents were Protestant. So the odds of you finding Jesus as raised by religious Protestants are way better than my odds of finding Jesus raised by religious Jews. I would have had to drop out of my religion, come over, and then go up in your religion. It's just a way bigger path. And they go, well, you'll be rewarded more for that in heaven. But I'm like, but if I don't, it's still the odds are good. It's a point spread. And that's not fair. If you believe in like a just God, you're putting me way, way back.
Yeah, in the Vegas hell.
And it's not just like I'll have to do a couple push-ups. Like I'll go to hell forever if I don't deny my whole upbringing. And you guys are just like on the finish line to start with. And they go, yeah. I'm like, and also what happened like to the people like before Jesus? Like if he's year 0, what happens in year -10? Those people all go to hell? And they go, no. Anyone comes before Jesus, as long as you don't like kill, whatever, you're fine.
This is a wash?
Yeah, it's a wash because you couldn't have accepted him. But after Jesus, you have to accept him to go to heaven. And I was like, okay, but what about the Indians? So there was a long period between Jesus and Christianity come to America. And then they said there's some different schools of thought on that. And one is that Jesus was like, sick, you guys good here in Europe? I got to go take care of something. And then he went and appeared to the Native Americans.
There's just so many holes.
Yeah, but that may be why they said there's this mythology of the same bearded man.
Yeah, maybe. But apparently that keeps going on through different locations. There's similar depictions of the same man in just different areas. So then it's like, okay, how do all these people so far across the world when they didn't have the technology to even travel or know about each other, how do they get the same mythology, if you want to call it a myth?
Purple Lady for DMT.
There's a purple lady. Oh, she's purple? I thought there's another name to her. That's it?
I don't know. Everybody sees this like purple lady.
I haven't seen it. I only did DMT once.
Yeah.
I cried, but I didn't really say anything.
So anyway, for the people who do it, yeah, I'm the same way. I didn't get there. But like, a lot of them see this purple lady.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, what is that? Is that just like...
some Carl Jung shit. It's this, what is he called? He's like archetype or some shit.
Yeah. And then on like salvia, though, everyone would see yellow or like wheels. Or so a lot of people see school buses.
I just incontrollably went to the right when I had salvia.
Exactly. Tilting over. Aspirin, it makes your headaches go away. But that's not God, right? That's just a similar side effect of a drug. So it's like...
maybe God is Advil.
Could just be like it makes your brain like it stops receptors of anything but purple.
But that doesn't freak me out. But when you see those experiences on ayahuasca or anything, DMT, when you start seeing when everyone has their same experiences, like you just said, like that.
Yeah, what is that?
What is that?
Yeah.
That's the stuff that makes me, because I believe there's something that happens after. I have ideas. Maybe it's nothing. But when I hear things like that, when I hear stories and anecdotes, which isn't enough evidence for a lot of people because they want to feel it and touch it, I just think we just can't comprehend whatever that is.
Yeah.
And I just think maybe we can't get there. But experiences like the Purple Lady, what is the theory on that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's either some sort of God or it's just like your receptors, it's affecting your receptors.
Are you Catholic yet?
No.
Krishna.
Bring in the boys.
All right, I got another one for you. Krishna consciousness. I like the way they do it because from my limited understanding.
Krishna or Krishna?
Krishna. Here we are. What
Or
words
Christian.
again?
What'd you say?
Krishna.
Okay, yeah.
So I think it was a Hindu deity or something.
something.
So through Krishna consciousness, they are not like people were asking this one guy I was reading. What if you believe in Jesus? Like, I honestly don't care. Paraphrasing it, I don't care what God you believe in, as long as you go closer to God. Whatever your God is, you're cool with it. They have ways you can't eat meat or have sex and stuff like that, so I'm out. But either way, it's...
you can't have sex? Hindu?
Yeah, what's that about? I guess obviously you have to procreate. But
I thought Hindus fuck like crazy.
Maybe they're not... Cool.
What's that book? What's that Hindu book? Kama Sutra.
Well, I'm sure it's obviously all Indians.
Yeah. But man,
Indians?
it's just a bunch of sex moves. It's a whole book of fucking drawings of sex moves.
Maybe sex is God.
Yeah, maybe.
I hope not.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe blowing cream pies is God. Maybe that's the way you get closer
Based
to
on our
Jesus.
early theory of God being gay, I'm
Yeah.
okay with maybe it not being that.
You can blow a reverse cream pie, Joe.
Well, okay, what about, you ever watch or listen to near-death experiences?
What?
You ever got into near-death experiences?
Oh, yeah, and everyone sort of sees the same thing.
That's similar to
light.
that.
I think that also might just be receptors. Like, as it shuts down, as certain things shut down, what's it left with? So, like, there's this thing of, like, if you're craving sweets, if you eat raw almonds, it satisfies the same thing in your brain as the sweets.
What?
Yeah, raw almonds. It's not sweet, but it's like nicotine patches. You want a cigarette, but a nicotine patch makes you not want a cigarette. But you haven't smoked anything. It's just hitting the same chemical
Interesting,
receptor.
just different form, but it's doing
So
the
it
same thing.
might be that where it's just limiting the other receptors. So then it really accentuates the purple or the whatever it is that everyone sees. The light, it looks like a tunnel because like.
That makes sense. Like
Yeah.
meditating is just blocking out, or like an isolation tank. You're blocking out all these human messed up modalities to get back to what I think we always were and what we have in us. We just got so convoluted with, I'm really pushing it. We got to count how many times I say that correctly throughout the podcast. But I think that's what it is. I think we're just so distracted that we're going further and further from this God, whatever that is. But then again, how significant what does it matter?
Yeah, what does it matter too?
That's
like,
my
what if
question.
there's a God? That's what I mean. That's what I need a third thing where it's like, what's the difference? You still got to go to work.
Yeah, I was talking to my boy last night, and I we're just bouncing ideas off each other. I was like, everyone's concerned about what happens when we die. What's the afterlife like? I just want answers. I just want to know what Area 51. I just want to get over there and just be like, this is Area 51. This is what happened with 9/11. This is what happened with JFK. I want answers.
Do you think we'll get the answers after we die? Like, hey, I'm sorry. I'm out. I'm already gone. Can I just ask a few things?
I'm good. Then I'll check out heaven. I'll go see what's up.
I can't report back. I won't ruin the secret.
I should get a frontline pass with my dad with 9/11. I just like, tell me what happened, because it's a little, I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah? You forgot already? My dad died in 9/11?
No, I'd be like, yeah, I'd want to know that. That'd be a good one to find out.
What would be your number one?
I don't know, but also I'd want to remember all the little things. Like, where were my keys that time? Where were they? Were they underneath the steps or were they on the shelf? I think they might have been on the shelf. And it's just like, but you forgot those times that you wanted to know. I want to remember all those and then get answers to each one.
So you literally never found your
Did
keys.
that check sheet on me? Yes or no?
See, exactly. Answers. And everyone's searching for the answers about life. That's
It's
interesting.
okay either way,
Yes.
but I just want to know.
Well, I think if we do find out there's no such thing as judgment or ego, and we're just, maybe it won't even matter. Those answers won't even mean anything to us.
How great. You ever meet up with an ex and then you're like talking to them and you dated like 8 years ago and you're like, hey, by the way, I was wondering now, that night where you said you couldn't hang out, then I drove by your place and your car wasn't there, but you said you were just going to stay home and paint. Like, are you fucking that guy from that band that we met earlier? I don't care. Is that, it's just like, I always wondered. And like, but if they tell you like, oh yeah, then you're like, nice.
And it doesn't, and you don't feel it, right?
You don't feel it. It's like a relief. It's like, thank you.
And that's what I want to find
Otherwise,
out.
when they're like, no, I'm like, I still don't know.
And that's what I'm saying.
No, you don't know. A yes, you're sure.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
We called on Legion of Skanks once. Lewis called his ex pot dealer. And he goes, hey, did you fuck my girlfriend? This was 8 years ago, 7 years ago. And he goes, what? He goes, listen, I'm already like 8 girlfriends past that. I don't care. We're on a live podcast right now. We just want to know. It's fine. Did you fuck my girlfriend on, like when you came over to deliver weed? And he goes, yeah, I did. And he goes, I knew it. Thanks, man. Thank you. And he's like, yeah, on my bed. He goes, oh, yeah, it was on your bed. I was like, fuck.
Maybe that's what
still.
it's like. 'Cause I want those answers.
That's what heaven is.
Maybe
finding out when your weed dealer fucks your chick on your bed and wipes his dick on your pillow.
But then it keeps going. It's like once you find the information, then what?
Then what? That's it. Then what?
The edible just officially started. Like it's at the beginning of the Hulk transformation when it's happening. It's not there. I'm not Hulk yet, but it's getting there.
Yeah.
But in regards to that, it's like even when you come up with some kind of, but then what?
Yeah.
And that I go down this place where it doesn't help me.
You still got to work on your resume. You still got to get it, like bring home some bacon. Yeah.
And we forget that we get in these moments, these flashing the pan moments, and this doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, so the consistencies I wanted to bring up with the near-death experience, because you brought up getting the answers to these moments. The one consistencies that I've seen of people that I've had on the podcast and yada yada.
Yeah, what?
Huh?
Yeah, what do they see? I'm interested.
Yeah. I mean, it's all over the place.
You talk to everybody about near-death stuff?
Not everyone.
But a lot of people?
I've like 200 episodes here and probably have 10 to 15. So not everyone.
No, it's a good case study, though. It's enough data points.
Yeah.
To like start to see a trend. What have you seen?
But there's thousands of them.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. But is everyone lying? Or, there's scam artists everywhere. Like,
yeah.
I know one of these cameramen could be a scam artist. I don't know. I'm not judging them. But like anyone could be a scam artist. So of course there's some fragility in there.
He's smiling. He's stone-faced. I don't know if that means he's caught or if he's like, this is crazy.
He might just be
stone-faced
unaware,
means like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Idea.
Or like, you're not going to catch me in this lie.
Anyway, one of the many consistencies was these life review, they call it. Where they get this life for anyone not watching on YouTube and I have no idea what's going on right now. So watch on YouTube. Yes, okay. Or Spotify, there's video there. Anyway, what the hell was I just saying? There's life reviews. So a consistent thing with these life reviews where you get a whole flashback. It's not that I'm dying, my life's flashing before my eyes. It's you see Interstellar?
Matthew McConaughey?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I saw that one.
There's a scene at the end where
his goddamn father the whole time. Remember that from South Park? When he was still there talking about it, like, I don't remember that. Whole fucking time he ended up being a goddamn father. Yeah.
Check. Okay. So there's these life reviews, and in that movie, there's a scene where he goes to this black hole, whatever, and then he starts going, he's kind of coasting from scene to scene and sees all these little moments in his life. And what I've seen from these near-death experiences, or heard rather, are people have these life reviews, but they're seeing what seems like the most insignificant moments of their life, but those small moments, not finding your keys, but maybe, end up being the most important moments. It seemed like a few of the stories that I've heard, not everyone, have been shown very small moments in their life, not the getting the job, getting that paycheck, or this, that, and the other. There's these tiny moments, and they're shown the ripple effect of those moments. They show how the butterfly effect happens and how much that means.
So it was a big moment.
Yeah, one of the examples, I may be butchering it, was she told me she was being shown this scene, and she's not body, as she explained. It's like, I'm watching myself from a grocery store, and she's like, I don't know why I'm being shown this, but I see a woman at the grocery line. She's like, I'm remembering this memory, but watching it now, this woman was shortchanged. She couldn't pay. It was like 73 cents. And she saw how much she was struggling. She was feeling what that woman was feeling. And then she saw herself, the woman telling the story, give her change. She's like, this is 73 cents. Doesn't mean anything. But then she was shown how much it meant to her by feeling it, and then cut to that woman's life years later when she was in a better place and she helped someone else out because of that experience. But it was like, even if it's not true, I believe it, but say it's not true, it's still like a good lesson.
Yeah.
Which maybe that's what religion is. It's just not true.
And it's also like, yeah, interesting, because you would never know. It's not you. Then you're past your memories when you're looking at that lady giving money to someone else or helping someone else. That's beyond your memory.
Is it memory, or is that just, we're just showing? I mean, no, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, her saying herself give that money, whatever, that could be in her memory. But then seeing that lady on life, like you have no memory of that.
It's new info.
Yeah.
So then again, maybe it's made, who knows?
Yeah.
But I keep seeing those stories. I've been multiple of those examples. Damn. And that life review always happens. A lot of people think it was a choice. Literally, like I see it as like an iPad. I'm going to choose Dave. He's going to have this grief experience with Stone. But you got to.
And they all the ones you've talked to who did that have similar things?
There's similarities throughout all of them. Not the exact, like not everyone told me about a life review, but that is a consistent one. Everything, it's always mostly positive. One woman said she went to hell, so I guess that's.
She went to hell.
She went to hell, but she came out of it believing hell wasn't real. She came out the conclusion that I created that, because the other is maybe negative energy, then we create this hell, but she didn't. She's like, hell's not real.
Yeah. So I'm remembering now. Somebody said like when a deer gets like trying to run away from a cheetah or something, and then it finally gets caught, they just go kind of limp, and that's their body flooding their brain with DMT.
That's
saying just don't feel this.
That's another one.
Yeah,
it's
but
like
like
your soul ejects before you feel anything.
Yeah, so if your brain is flooding you with that, that means when you're taking DMT or mushrooms or some sort of psychedelic, like it's doing a similar thing to your brain. So you can have some of these near-death experiences, probably just taking them or something
What
similar
they call
to
it,
it.
like the dying molecule or dying.
Yeah, something like that. But when you are in there, I just know there's so much info being thrown at you that you're like, I can't, and you like get it for a second, and then you come back to like this realm, you like come out of that state, and you're like, I can't even express it all. It's just too much to. It's like an old computer trying to like decipher a program from a new computer, and it's like it's kind of like this, but it's all janky and like it's got blotches in it. So yeah, maybe it's something like that where it's like it was like a light flash. I just can't tell. It's gone. It's gone.
What if that was just a transitionary phase? I'm just hypothesizing.
Yeah.
Transitionary phase where we're still not fully there, so it's just computing, trying to figure out, adjusting, and maybe we just don't do DMT. Maybe we don't get quite there. But maybe when we cross that line, like I had a feeling during DMT, and again, I didn't break through, as they say. I got to this point where I felt as if all my questions were answered. I felt like, oh, everything's fine. I didn't have any questions.
Universal truth.
Yeah, it was just, I'm good.
Yeah. So maybe that lady who was like, I went to hell and it's not real, fully understood. She's like, oh, I did this to myself. I created it. I get it all. I'm having trouble explaining to you how I could go to hell and still make it not real. But at the time, it made sense.
Yeah. And I'm like, if I had to guess, I'd be like, I don't think hell is real.
Yeah.
I think it's a place maybe we can go to that's horrible, but it's not like a physical place that's depicted in the Bible, in my opinion.
Jews don't believe in hell.
What do Jews believe in?
Some do, but like that's not the teaching anyway. Purgatory, extended purgatory.
So there are similarities with, the Torah, and I guess, it's pretty much, you say it's the original Bible.
Yeah, the OG. Yeah. Then you get this fan fiction later.
See, that's what I'm saying. Is it just is it geographic? Is it just man trying to put their footprint on something and have that game of phone tag?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, so before you had that epiphany at where you kind of realized you didn't believe in God, did you have that growing up? Did you start really believing, or you just feel like you're going through the motions?
Just like this, you're given, so you just do it, and you're like, this is the right way. You don't think twice about it. Like I'm just coming to. I was in the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. It's this great comedy and like arts festival in Scotland. And my friend, Canadian friend who lives in England, he was on before me every night. And we were talking, and he was like, why are you still living in America? And I was like, what? I'm American. He goes, you're too cool for that place. And it was like, oh, I never thought of it like that. I'm just like, of course I'm going to live here forever. But he's like, too cool for America. That means America's got like this like stench on it. This is 2016 probably. There's like stench on it of not cool. And there's like cooler shit other places. And you go to like Berlin or something or Mexico City and you're like, damn, this is actually a way cooler place. People are into the right things here. And it's just like, yeah, there's some lameness here where I'm from. But I always expect, like, that's just what I'm American. I'll live and die there. You don't think twice about it. Like a lot of New Yorkers are like that. Where it's like, it's the best city in the world. Like, where else have you been? Like, nowhere.
Newark.
Yeah, I've been to Newark. Stop killing teachers.
There's other teams in the Nets and Knicks, people. There's other teams to explore.
Yeah, so it was like you're just raised with religion. You're like, that's just it. Especially as a kid. Yeah, and you don't think that there's a way to not do that.
Yeah, but I think it's actually a really good analogy. But then the way I'm parlaying off what you're saying, I've been blessed to travel a little bit. Yeah, and I like certain cities. I love certain cities. I do relate, but that's my journey, if you want to call it that, or my receptors in regards to understanding what all this all is. I'm visiting different cities, liking certain things. Some things I know, some food sucks. That food's great. And I'm kind of putting it all together about learning about cultures, if you will, and then making my own opinions about what it does to me.
Yeah, well, like you see I was always raised like USA #1, and I'm just like, in what though?
Wait, what'd you say?
USA #1.
Okay.
But like, not healthcare, right? Definitely. And then like, I don't know what the fixes are. I just know like that it needs fixing. Mm-hmm. And then like, yeah, like I'm trying to think what school system's not the best. Other places have like way lower like levels of like illiteracy.
Yeah.
National parks, I'll give you that for sure. But then if you're like, well, stuff is better in other places, like, all right, I can enjoy that.
Yes. Everyone just identifies himself with one team, which is the nature of
the beaches in Dominican Republic are nicer than any of ours.
Yeah, I mean, I'm from the Jersey Shore. Those beaches are great. But
They're great.
You got to pay to get on.
Yeah, right.
It's like,
really?
It's like Catholicism.
That's lame. You don't have to just do push-ups in the parking lot till they let you in.
Well, in LA, we don't have to pay, but at the same time,
Yeah.
maybe these beaches are taking more. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
Let's not even go down that rabbit hole. But I love that analogy because I think different places offer different things. But if you're not shown those places, you
would never know what you're missing.
No idea.
Yeah,
So
So it's just like, I love God, I'm into it, and then you're like, oh, there's another way. I mean, when I got out of it, it was like, wow, this world is so much bigger than I thought it was.
So much bigger. And that's why I don't get mad at people when they have certain beliefs. It's like, believe whatever you want. Literally doesn't affect me for the most part. Some exceptions. And then it's like, you just, maybe you don't know, that person doesn't know better. I'm not saying I do, but there's just so much more to explore and then come back to your final.
Yeah, and you see like, well, you're getting something out of it. That's my new special. That's what I'm trying to say. Like you can get something out of all this.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I like that part of it. Even though I was in Gay Pride Parade in West Hollywood, one of the better ones.
It's actually it's a lot of fun. I've been there.
A lot of fun. Better than New York, spatially. Because you turn down a street in the Gay Pride Parade in New York and you are shoulder to shoulder, ass cheek to ass cheek, just like, oh, I can't move, just slowly being guided. It's so claustrophobic. In LA, it's West Hollywood. I mean, the streets are so wide that you can go closer to it. You can be further away. You can be an introvert and kind of be on the outside of it.
It's
you can
fun
walk.
as hell. It actually really is a lot of fun to go to.
But those God Hates Fags people were there.
Oh, God.
The one I remember. And it was just like, everyone's having a great time. And they're up on like these steps. So they have a platform right behind the rope. And they're like, fuck you, you're going to hell. And I just saw this gay guy goes, we love you anyway. And it was like, it was almost like, oh yeah, you're having a good time. Hey, God Hates Fags people. It's your day too. It's your day too. Because at least you believe in something and that's nice to have a group.
It's such an out-of-pocket thing to say.
Yeah. But it's like,
such a ridiculous.
Sure, yeah, it's dumb, but like, it's like somebody taught you this is right.
Exactly.
And it's like, and you're passionate. At least that is nice.
Yeah, if you're looking at the positives, like your special sense, I guess that's a positive.
You're doing it wrong, but like, you're at least trying something.
That's why maybe, it's a double-edged sword of being very forgiving. And I have my ears behind my head, still got my street sense in many ways, I think. But it's like, that person just, they've been fed this.
Yeah.
They weren't born to think that. It doesn't make it right.
Yeah, they're
but
fed
it's like,
they're fed it.
It just keeps going.
Yeah.
It started from someone.
Yeah. So they didn't decide it. The only new racism I've seen that's not inherited is waiters who hate Jews and blacks and Indians. Because that's a learned, they didn't go into that job thinking I should hate black people, Indians, and Jews. Something taught them. These are the ones that stiff me all the time.
Right, but that something might not be coming from someone telling us his experience.
Right, I'm saying that's the only learned racism. Everything else is just given or like, why would you be racist?
That's a good point.
Yeah. When you ever see toddlers playing like black and white, and like someone has to teach you to be racist. It's not innate.
And there's a reason when things are cliche. A lot of the time, cliche is it's a reason it's cliche.
And when a group of 7 people with yarmulkes go in, like, oh, I'll take another table, and then it's like 6 brothers, and you're like, fuck, get me something, and then one white guy like, I'll take that.
Same thing with real estate. I've been in real estate for a minute before I was really doing this, and there's a lot of cliches there for sure.
Yeah,
it shows up. And
it's like, fun learning them too. I was in Greece. We rented a car. We were waiting for it to come out. So it was like talking to this lady for a while, and she was like, "Yeah, different people." And she said I was like, "Yeah, I'm Jewish." She said, "Oh, okay." And she was like, "I was like, what is that?" She goes, "No, it's like Israeli." I'm like, "No, I'm not Israeli." She goes, "Okay." I'm like, "What have you seen?" She goes, "It's all right. Everybody's cool." I'm like, "No, I know, but just like, what have you seen?" She goes, "The religious Jews leave trash in the back seat. What is that?" And I was like, damn, that's a brand new one. That's a brand new one. I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, they always just like, the whole back seat has like wrappers and stuff. They don't what is that? And I'm like, I think it comes from like, you're getting over financially on someone if you make them clean it up because you would pay someone to clean it up. I don't know. But now every time I do it, it's me too. I'm eating something and I'm like, I'll just throw it in the back.
So you do it?
In my own car. I get called on it too. They're like, you're being a religious Jew? I'm like, I guess so. It's like, get it out of the way. Yeah. And then they get back there and they don't like, when you deliver like a rental car, some people are like, let me clean this out for you. Other people are like, you do it. Yeah.
It's a new one.
Yeah. Wait, why do we talk about racism and learned behavior? Oh, what you're inheriting. But here's the cool thing. So those guys are as lunatics as they are. Not many people are on the God Hates Fags side.
I hope not.
Yeah. But that gay guy had a choice of going 2 ways. No one would fault him if he was like, fuck you, you piece of shit. Come over the ropes and do that. or whatever, or he's like, fuck that guy can't. And then later, I can't believe that guy was a fucking whatever. But he, in the moment, just goes, we love you, everybody's great.
It's beautiful.
He was his special day, and he didn't give a fuck, and nothing's gonna rain on his parade. And that guy walked on. He might have even told a story about it, but he told it from a fun, positive, and mentally, that guy's in a way better state than the guy who's justifiably being affected by that. It's like you're not wrong to be affected by it, but which one do you want to be? And to me, it's pretty clearly that happy gay.
It's a choice.
Yeah, the gay.
The gay.
Yeah.
Gay squared.
Yeah, gay squared.
There's two different things.
Yeah, he went gay squared, which is the best place to be.
It's kind of a
It's gay squared.
oxymoron. Oh no, yeah, that lines up. Gay squared actually works in multiple
Yeah,
ways.
gay squared.
I didn't realize.
Happy
I
gay.
didn't realize the layers to that joke until after I said it. I think I'm a little higher than I expected.
What the lyrics to what?
Lyrics?
What'd you say?
Layers.
Layers. Oh yeah.
No lyrics.
Yeah. I just got into Modest Mouse. I was
Nice.
trying to get them to maybe do a song at the end of my special.
Oh, I heard you say that. You mentioned wait, I thought the special's out.
Special's out. Well, before I was like trying to what goes with the theme. So I was trying to get Kanye. So I have this whole thing about Kanye, about how people are fucked up if you're listening to what he's saying. You should just be listening to his music. That's crazy to go on Twitter to follow Kanye West when he is one of the greatest musicians of all time, and you're listening to his words is retarded. Listen to his music. Watch his concerts. That's where he shines. And then go well, how does he cook his eggs? Who gives a fuck? And that's what listening to his take on Jews are. Who gives a fuck? Bring out the hits. Leave him alone. Let him get back to the studio. Anyway, so I was like, my whole tour, I ended with Black Skinhead. And it comes from the same theories, focus on positivity and stuff, where through humor, by the way, I'm not, whatever. But a lot of these people trying to do theme shit. It's where's the jokes though? But okay, so my whole tour, my friend Christine called me one day or texted me and said, hey, I know all this Kanye is right about the early time with Kyrie and him doing it. And she goes, I know whatever, but have you heard Black Skinhead lately? And I was like, no. I was in a treadmill and I put it on and I was like, oh my God, this goes. It's such a good beat. And so his racism got me into this amazing song, helped me discover it slaps so fucking hard. It's so good. It's so good. And I wouldn't have discovered it if not for this fucking popping off about his doctors and his whatever. So it was so I ended my whole tour, I went up on stage with Black Skinhead after that. I was like, oh, bring me up to that. You can just say what song you want. And then at the end, I'd be like, hey, that song I went up to, play it. And then they play it. I'm like, this goes so hard. They play it out. And I was like, let me try to get that song for the credits of my special. After I do this big, long thing, I cut out dude, it was 30 minutes on Kanye. And I had to cut it down to 10 or 12. Because I'm like, that whole thing about trying to fuck Kim Kardashian. I was like, it's just too much for Kanye. So eventually, by the way, would.
You really had you had a notepad, I guess? Yeah, fair enough. I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
Yeah. I love when you pass by one of her billboards and every woman's like, she looks like a freak. I'm like, right? You're trying to shove your boner down, your fucking street boner. So I contacted Kanye West people. I was like, hey, see if we can, there's a couple people I know who've met him. And I was like, do you still have his number? I think the only way I can get this song in my credits, because they charge so much, a self-funded special, a break-even special is never going to do it. This is just for this is just for
how much we talk?
TV shows. TV shows will pay 30 to 100 grand. You have to convince them hey, I'm not that. I'm not using it for that. I'm using it for a very small scale. Mm-hmm. So you need permission from really the artist or the studio. Or you need the artist to tell the studio, throw this one forward.
Right.
So I was like, maybe Rogan or Shane can text him. And they're both like, he'd changed his number. I don't have it anymore. I'm like, all right. And he goes, and both of them like, to get that number, that's inviting a whole world of hate.
Yes.
Back of craziness. So I was like, through a, music Jew, I wrote them, a lawyer. And I was like, can I write this? Can I get this song? I have this whole thing about Kanye West, how he's one of the greatest, and it would be perfect for that. And they responded with, well, I hope very well you're not referring to him as Kanye in this special because he goes by Ye, and we expect you to refer to him as Ye or Ye, whatever. And I'm like, well, no. I mean, I'm also referring to it as Twitter. It's not that either. It's just he's known more as Kanye than Ye. So, but I was like, oh, I'm not. He's too crazy to even get the rights to that song.
That's wild.
So I started looking for other songs and like what goes with this, so focusing on positive, and a ton of Modest Mouse came up.
A ton?
A ton.
Well, which
like entire albums.
back
That
to the
blue
idea of
one, that
staying
green
positive,
one.
or like, what that's
Of
the
like,
vibe you're
yeah,
going
so
for?
could have been, should have been. I've gotten to it later.
Okay.
Whatever it was. It's like, oh, I missed the train that day, but and you're all mad. But what that train might have crashed. You might have met somebody who stabbed you.
Yes.
You know, like you don't think it would have been bad. And then all this other stuff about how positive it was. Like I got scammed by a Jamaican on the street. It was worth it just to learn how a trick was done.
Huh.
You know, a cop pulled me over and it was awesome because I got to meet her. It was like all these lyrics, it's like almost exactly the same.
Yeah, I got robbed in Guadalajara by myself once, and it was
By yourself?
Yeah, I got robbed in the best way possible.
Yeah.
And that was my positive. I was like, oh, it's fun. I wasn't really threatened. He took my phone when I was in the back of an Uber out of my hand on a motorbike. It was Anchorman. I was like, not even angry. I was impressed.
You got a story out of it.
I got a fucking
like,
story.
wow.
Maybe it would have been worse if he tried to
No,
stab
that's
me.
it. You're focused on the
But
positive.
I'm like, and people get offended by to me, I can never get offended by, plus I have a dark sense of
By
humor,
what?
I guess. By finding the positive in anything.
It's crazy. It's rebellion now.
It's rebellion.
Because it's such a negative world. We're all so fucking pushed down by that phone and them trying to like throw you like anxiety and fear that if you're like, no, things are good. People are like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's the only punk rock thing to do now is be happy.
My dad died in 9/11. Now I'm talking Ari Shaffir.
Yeah, whose people planned it.
Yeah.
Come on. Get back in here and work the camera.
If that's not a lesson, just don't listen to my podcast anymore, people, all right? I'm fucking drenched. I just spilled that water everywhere. Jesus Christ. But yeah, for real, though. It's something wrong with just... I understand...
No, not for real. I was joking. They didn't plan it.
No,
Oh, my God. I was joking. Wait.
You know what? That's why we got to die and find out. That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
exactly.
We got to die
Who
and
really
find
planned
out.
it?
I want to know. I find out. We look back at this podcast. What was he saying there?
Yeah. But yeah, that mental state of focusing on positivity.
It's just driving us down. And I understand. I understand. If I'm taking both sides, I see why you wouldn't want to find the positive in some really evil people. I get that. But also, it's up here. Why not just shift it and laugh at it at a minimum? Laugh at it at a minimum.
It's up to you. Yeah, especially if you're not going to do anything about it.
Especially if you're not going to do anything about it.
What's that word?
Convoluted?
Another one. Something if you're not going to do about it.
Something if you're not going to do.
You said like, it's up to you.
Are you trying to get me to say a word? Or
Yeah, what? Especially or especially?
Especially.
Okay. Okay.
I had a lisp growing up. What do you want from me?
If you're listening or watching, rewind to 1 minute and listen again and just hear what he said. I don't know. You'll know. Leave in the comments if he said especially. Leave in the comments if he said especially. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and tell me I'm wrong in the comments as well.
I'm a wasky wabbit. What do you want from me? What am I supposed to say?
Okay.
You know, I thought we were talking about death and some shit,
Yeah,
but I know
we
it's
were.
just hooked on
I get
phonics.
so sidetracked.
I'm with it. I respect it. I appreciate it. I'm staying positive by making fun of myself. Is that the lesson here?
Yeah. Wait, what did you say? Especially if what? No,
I have no idea at this point. Yeah, that's gone. If you guys let me know what the hell I was saying, just
It'll
kick
be
it back.
too late by then.
Oh, God. What else did we fill out?
Yeah.
What?
What we were talking about, especially
Staying positive in horrible situations.
Oh yeah, especially if you can't do anything about it.
That's what it is.
So what they always say is, well, if everyone said that, you know, but then it's like, what if everyone said they didn't want to go to the army? Then we'd be invaded by Mexico and lose.
Yes.
You know, it's like not everyone's saying that. Well, I want to go on vacation. What if everyone on vacation? Like then the economy would collapse. Why do you go straight to what if everyone said that? That or people go, is this a hill you want to die on? You're like, no, I just want to weigh in.
Yeah, but it's not even does everyone say that because you could have different points of view of positive things. So not even everyone's going to be finding the same positives. So you're not saying the same thing. You're just finding your own positive.
Right. But they go, well, someone's got to take care of it. You're like, yeah, it's not going to be me. I'm not going to clean up the Catholic Church. I'm not going to clean up politics. I'm not going to like stop poverty in the Midwest or stop opioid epidemic. And it's like, I don't have to know about traffic deaths. Let me just go be happy.
Why are you so negative on yourself? Why can't you do any of that?
Why what?
Why can't you do any of that?
What do you mean?
You just said, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. Why not do it?
I don't want to.
That's fair.
And no one else does too. I don't want to pretend like I'm gonna. I'm like, it's not my problem.
They want to show it for a second on their Instagram story.
You ever see like a homeless guy falling on the street and you're like, oh, someone should help them. And then you go like, oh, I should help them. And you go, someone else should help them.
That's another weird thing about life.
Someone will.
You go live in LA and New York, you just I'm just living my life, and I see a homeless person. It's so routine that I'm
walk
like
right by it.
desensitized.
Yeah.
But occasionally I help, but it's not every time.
It's just that you don't have to worry about it. That's a selfish thing too. You give somebody the exact right amount of money based on what's in your pocket right then, so you don't have to feel like this is a problem that you're really creating. So if it's 75 cents, if it's a 1, if it's a 5, you're just like, today I'm like, I help with the solution so I can feel good about myself.
It's kind of back to religion and repenting for your sins. Like, I'm good. I did this, I did this, I did that, but at the same time, I'm good now.
I touched some fucking balls on a string in the right way.
Balls on a string?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I went a whole nother direction there. Okay.
Oh yeah, that's different.
It took me a second there. I want to ask you about your dad. If you don't, I feel like you don't have a filter, so it doesn't matter what the Holocaust with your father. Have you guys had discussions about?
I wasn't there with him.
You weren't?
No.
I thought you were 95 years old.
No.
All right. Well, through his stories, is that something you guys? Is he open about that?
He used to not be. Or maybe we just didn't know how to talk to him about it. I don't know, but I remember like not hearing about it much. And then in the last 20, 30 years, he's been like way into it. I think he started to volunteer at he knew what it was, you know, he lived through it. He started volunteering at the Holocaust Museum or Memorial, I forget what they call it, in DC. I think he took care of somebody, like an elderly person, more elderly. He's not elderly, but he's older. And then he was like, heard his stories, and that guy was volunteering. He goes, maybe I'll go volunteer too. And then he just got like, oh, actually, this should be talked about. So we talked about it more. Yeah, I've gone to see him speak about it at the memorial and the museum. I wish I knew what it was. I think museum.
What does that do to you?
What?
Just hearing that shit. It was like your dad.
I'm really good at compartmentalizing, so I don't like take that in. That was just a boy. Yeah. Who went through that. It's not like, I know it's my dad, but it's like not currently happening.
Is that compartmentalizing or stuffing it down?
No, it's just compartmentalizing. It's like, I can still talk to a chick about what movie we're going to go see when I know secretly she's cheating on me.
Right.
And then it's like, okay, but right now I've got to pick this movie.
I'm with that. I feel like I'm the same way, or try to be at least. I don't know if
like you're just like, it's in a different box.
Yeah.
I can open that box when I want to. It's not pushing it down. It's just like, that's not necessary.
Compartmentalizing, right, exactly like you said.
Yeah, you're upset about anything. You got a bad grade, but then you're like, wait, what's the direction here? Mm-hmm. You know, like when you're driving to somewhere, you're like, oh, I make a right on this. For a second, you're not feeling I just got a D-.
Yeah, I think that's how I mostly operate. And then sometimes I catch myself, maybe I'm just conscious of it. I was raised by women, but I think about, like, am I addressing that? And, and addressing it doesn't have to be this woo-woo talk to it. That's just kind of just acknowledging it.
Yeah, sometimes thinking through it for a little bit.
Yeah.
Emotionally thinking through it.
Yeah, allowing yourself to do that.
Yeah. And then sometimes stuff hits you so much you can't, no matter how good you are compartmentalizing it, like a big death or it's getting cheated on or like something major where you're like, you can't think straight. You ever like fuck and then like something else is on your mind because it's so on your mind?
Yes.
And then it's like, it's at those moments like, I can't compartmentalize now.
Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to. I feel like you internally combust if you didn't, or shoot someone up later. It's like if you hold it in too much, it's gonna show up.
Yeah.
Have you dealt with any deep grief in your life? Have you like lost people in your life? People who died?
Yeah.
What's that like?
Yeah. You have not?
No.
Oh.
9/12 I did. It was just
oh, right. Yeah, but you were a kid. Yeah. It's tough. You go through that, whatever the levels of grief are like real. It's just like, you want to change shit, right? So when you hear somebody like lost their job, you'd be like, well, this might be the best for you. You know, you didn't like that. I heard you complain about that job. Maybe this will be a good, you know, it's like time to get on your resume and work on the next one. So you want to apply that to someone dying. Like, well, how do I fix this? Mm-hmm. You know, your flight gets canceled. You're like, well, okay, I got to book another flight. I got to sucked. I got to call ahead to the meetings I was supposed to be at and say, I might be late. You try to fix it. And then you try to fix that. You end up trying to like, wait, you don't say, how do I fix it when someone dies? But you're like, I'll plan the funeral arrangements. I'll make sure we got food over there. And it's your way of like trying to fix it. And then eventually realizing, like, oh, I can't fix it. It's gone. It's forever. He's gone. Forever. He's just gone.
That's the thing with me, this whole point of this conversation, even though we covered a lot of different things, is that when you talk about compartmentalizing, I believe in compartmentalizing the idea of death, not to push it down. Because I think so many people avoid the conversation when it's the one thing that, I have nothing in common with you, but we're both going to die. But yes, it's such a shock when it happens.
Right.
But I think it's it's natural to feel a shock. I'm not saying don't feel a shock, but to me, I'm thinking deeper. I'm like, I'm shocked if someone just randomly died, which has happened in my life, but I'm not shocked as if that wasn't possible. And I feel like there's some weird, deep aspect of humans that just feel like it's not going to happen to me.
Right.
And
yeah.
And I feel like that's where that stems from.
Yeah, you don't want to be around that because then you have to kind of face it.
And I think that's what it comes down to. I mean, I've almost lost my mom last year, and it was hard as fuck. But even when I got the news, when she was almost gone, I was shocked because I was surprised. Just landing in fucking London when it happened. But after a second, I wasn't like, how could this happen to me? Why did this happen? Like, no, this shit just happens.
Yeah, right. Just happens. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Yeah, I just lost a friend actually. But I remember talking to someone, she lost her kid to SIDS. And then she said every mom was like, oh, did you have the kid on their back? Which way is you supposed to put the kid? Back or stomach?
On their back.
You're supposed to put him on their back.
Sleeping?
Yeah.
I would think back.
Yeah. So then they were like, did you have her on her stomach by accident? Right. She goes, no. And they're like, well, did you do this? And none of the other moms could, whatever one it was, but they were like, did you do the opposite of what you're supposed to do? None of the other moms could accept that a kid can just die. You had to have done something wrong because I'm doing everything right. There has to be a reason why my kid's still alive and your kid just died. There has to be something. Were you speeding? You know what? Is that why you got killed on the way home?
Always looking for answers.
You had to have done something wrong so I could be like, this is in some way it won't happen to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't try not to put a hierarchy of loss, but losing a child is I don't.
Yeah.
And especially you're in charge of that child. You're responsible for their life.
Yeah.
So I see why people would go there and just look for an answer and find.
Yeah, right. It's like I can't live in a world where a kid can just die for nothing.
And that's the whole existential aspect of how could this happen? Why would God this, that, and the other? What is the reason for that? Maybe there's no reason. Yeah. I have a hard time believing there's no reason. Maybe not a hard reason. It's like I mean black and white. I have a hard time thinking this is just by chance.
Yeah.
But also it could be. I don't know.
Yeah. But it's like, it's tough. It's just like, it's just happening. It doesn't matter. There's a thing they said, like, did God want Jews keeping kosher? Because they said maybe it's tapeworm in pigs. And then they found out later about tapeworms. They didn't know back then, but there was like a reason. It's like, oh, that's God trying to protect you. But now we know if you just like cook your whatever long enough, you won't get tapeworms. So now we can do it. My rabbis are always like, no. And I'm like, well, then why? He goes, the reason you have to keep kosher is because for like, just like all the laws, same exact reason. Because God said, you don't know the reason. You can't be sure. So I can do something else. It's just because God said, don't do it. So you don't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's tough. You want to like justify it. We have feeble brains.
I can't justify anything.
Yeah. Yeah, you gotta be like, they told me not to.
I don't know. Yeah. I have fucking no idea. Where do we go from that?
You ever go like, I know what the reason is for this, so I'm gonna disobey the law. Where it's like there's a no turn on red, but it's fucking 2 a.m. and you're looking and there's no cars coming. Mm-hmm. I know the reason for this rule. It's because sometimes there's cars coming, and it's like, but like there's none. So fuck it, I'm going.
There's moments to override the law.
Yeah, no one's coming. I'm just gonna do it.
Especially pork.
Yeah, I know but I get why you need that sign, but not for right now. So I'm gonna bypass it. Yeah, that's that. That's what people go like. Well, this is the reason for pork. Yeah, it's too delicious.
It's hard maybe not in my head sometimes. I just embrace not knowing shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what is this human idea we have to. It's secure. I think it's just security. I think religion for a lot of people is security, and then people identify.
Yeah, that's what it is.
They identify so much with the idea and belief. To live your life, I'm cool with that. Doesn't affect me. I'm just speaking, but it's identifying with an ideology, and it becomes part of you. And then once people believe something different, they're attacking you because of that attachment to the idea. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you know what that happens. I like to look at innocuous examples to show you like all the similarities.
Please.
When somebody quits drinking or doing pills or something, everyone else is like, well, why? All the friends were still like big cokeheads. They're like, why? It's like, hey, it's okay. You can keep doing blow. But this shows you, oh, fuck, somebody's getting out. And so you put it on yourself. Like, you know? So when someone gets religious, it's also like, well, you're better than, it's like, just let them do whatever they want to do.
Yeah, but then you're like, I don't want that person to overdose.
Yeah, and if somebody like leaves a religion, it's like they get mad at them. Yeah, nobody's overdosing. Just test your shit.
You know, whenever the religious thing comes up, I've said it before, it obviously comes up in this conversation. I've noticed in the comment section, again, I was raised Catholic, part of that team. And it's not everyone, because I know some amazing Catholics and Christians. And on the comment section, y'all are most judging. It's wild.
Ooh, Wow.
It's constantly.
As a clip of me and Santino talking about the Killers are the greatest Christian rock band in the world, I believe. But they're like kind of understated their Christianity in their lyrics. It's either like, listen to any one of the songs. It's either backs that up or doesn't go against it. And anytime you hear a lyric that's like, what about that? He goes, he's talking about another character he knew in the song. You got to listen for it. Big Mormon guy. And then it's like, Mormon's not Christianity. And then Mormons weigh in and go, why is it not Christianity? And they're like, you guys are a cult. And they're like, they go, we worship Jesus Christ. How are we not Christian? And then it's down to like, you think the Holy Trinity is 3 separate people? We think they're all part of one. Like, you guys are Christian. You're a way Christianer than a fucking Buddhist. Anyway. Yeah, I don't
even know where to go from that one.
Yeah, me neither.
But either way, I think we have no idea. But maybe some do.
My friend died, Kathleen McGee. She got cancer. She lost all this weight.
One you were talking about?
Yeah, she lost all this weight. She changed, like she was fat slut for a long time. She fucks loud too. We shared condos together. She's screaming in the other room, getting fucking railed by this. She loved fat bearded dudes, getting railed by this lumberjack and just screaming. Fucking Kathleen. Anyway, she lost a ton of weight one day, just like got healthy. And was like, for like 2 years, was like, great. Then was like, got cancer. It's inoperable. And it's like, whoa. And everyone's like, oh, I'm really sorry. She goes, don't even do that. I'm totally fine. Like, she's already went through that. I'm over it. It happens to everybody. I'm totally at peace. Let's have a good time. I'm not trying to like be sad.
That's to you, you're saying.
To everybody who brought it up to her.
Right.
And it wasn't like, hey guys, I think it'd be better if we just have a good time. It really was like, oh, I'm not upset about it. It's not something I'm thinking about. It's like you telling that story about your cell phone getting stolen. How long ago was that?
5 years.
5 years. You have many other cell phones since then. You don't really care. But if somebody's like, I'm really sorry that happened to you, like, oh, you're overplaying it. Yeah. It's just a fun story.
Well, how many cell phones do I have in the phone of my dad?
Right. Yeah.
I was in Ikea. Now I'm on the iPhone 10, right? 15 right now.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying, though. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and she was so over it. It was interesting. And then she died recently. She died like right before Thanksgiving. But like,
it's very recent.
Yeah, in hospice. But it was like she was so at peace with it.
That helps.
Yeah.
That helps the next process, which is, figuring out the grief shit.
Yeah.
When I see that to me, that's helpful if they're at peace with it. But it's when they're not, then it's just, it's just permanent. That's the idea of permanence, that you're never going to see this person again. And when it's a certain person, obviously, I think there are certain deaths that just feel differently due to relationships. But when it's like a dad.
Yeah, you're like, damn, it's final.
Child, like, oh my God.
The dad, they said, is a big one.
Child is a
child, but most people don't go through that. The dad one, almost everybody goes through.
Yeah,
even if you're 80, you're going to lose your pop at some point.
Right, you think they're going to go first until you're the child. That's a whole nother that's a fucked up thing in my head. But it's just.
But yeah, everyone's dad is like they say like, oh, now I have no father.
Yeah,
even if you're 80 and he's 106, it's still like you go like, fuck.
Like you're thinking about it, is that what you're saying?
That's what everybody goes through when they lose their pop.
Right. And then it smacks you across the face when you don't really contemplate it, in my opinion. Unless you're just,
you were young, so maybe you had a different experience.
Yeah.
You're like way young.
But also, it's like when your dad goes, you've had a long life of experience, so you might just be well equipped and this, that, the other. And however you experience it is how you experience it.
No, I've just seen a lot of people that have that same thing when they lose their men anyway, lose their father. It's like no matter, even if they're full adults in their 50s, 60s, it's still like, damn, there goes my first leader.
That's it.
Yeah, and he's gone now.
Now what?
And they all feel that same like loss of like, but you're already a grandfather. It's like, still though, I just lost my dad.
Sometimes there's so many layers to it because it's, often you think about the person you lost, but you're not just losing that person. You're losing habits. You're losing routines. You're losing things that you like. You're losing the way your dad would call you every day. You're using, even if it's a friend that you always send a meme to or some shit. Now that's gone. So you're losing the person, but then there's this whole new way of life that you have to adjust to.
Right. Not being able to call him.
That's the really jerky part of grief, where I feel like people don't think about the down the line shit, the everyday stuff. When the funeral flowers stop coming, the food stops coming, then you're like sitting there in silence trying to digest it. It's like, oh shit. I just walked into a different dimension in many ways.
Yeah, all those people I've lost, like the closer people I've lost, it's like you stop thinking about them.
Yeah.
And then one day you do think about them. It could have been a year since you'd last did. And it doesn't get you to like stop in your tracks. Sometimes it does, rarely and rarelier and rarelier. I know that's not a word.
Okay, thank God. Okay, I was like, I shouldn't be the one correcting you, but I was like, if that's a word, I'm about to start using that. And he's fucking set me up for the next 12 episodes just saying the wrong word.
But when you do remember, it's just like, oh yeah. It's like the emotions are gone behind it. You've accepted they're gone. It's almost like they moved to Europe. You know, like they're somehow sort of still alive because they're just in your memory now. Like a lot of people that used to be in your memory.
Yeah, and then it evolves.
Yeah. I think you go on living as long as people remember you.
That's a theory.
So like you're still alive in the world in some way, which is why a lot of artists don't have kids, because they're like, I'm already creating something for the society to live on past me. I created like a great painting or, you know, whatever. And it's like, so I will live on in some way.
So do you believe, in regards to that idea of living on through memory and yada, yada, memory and all that, what about the anecdotes or anything you've heard or beliefs about, you know, mediums and connecting to the other side? Do you feel like all those stories are bullshit, or what is that?
Yeah, probably, but I don't know.
Have you ever went to a medium?
Yeah,
You have?
Yeah, I got a wedding present once. I got married. I dated this chick for 2 weeks, and we got married at the Comedy Store.
And you got a gift to a medium?
Yeah, but it was across the street.
Gift,
it was across the street. One of those people running a fake business.
You went
out of
to
a side room for whatever. She read our fortune. It was so great. That marriage lasted 3 years tops, and it was over in like a day. But yeah, she goes, so you're really like close with your family? And I was like, oh no, not really. My brothers and sisters are, but not really. And she's like, no, I mean like geographically though. I'm like, oh no, they're on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. No. She's like, but you just see like, I'm still trying to like make this work. I'm like, it's all right, lady. I know it's a game.
Trying to make it work.
I know it's a game. I'm not going to be like, I know it's not a movie. It's not going to be the run.
Would you do one if I set you up with one?
Yeah, maybe. It might be fun if I have time.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not like looking for any answers to it.
No.
Like I'm rushing to it.
This is more for sport. This is not
I love it, dude.
This is not a selfless act.
I assume they're all full of shit, but also pretty good grifters, like good skill wise. It's like those
mentalists.
No, I was gonna say like the dancers in the subway, the ones that dance with their feet up on the things and they go like whatever. It's like, I mean, it's a good job. You know, it's like, that's good. I know you're not like in the Alan Avey school of fucking dance, but like that's his school. You get $1.
Yeah, and then the Bible talks about mediums I think are devilish.
Devilish, because they have connection. If you really had that, you'd be white-haired and you'd be like a billionaire.
If you had the gift?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I think there's two different thoughts to it. People think of mediums and psychics, they think they can just
talk
back to the future shit. I can see who wins the Super Bowl in 3 years. It's not exact. From my understanding, it's not exactly that. And again, I don't know. I've had experiences that it's one of those things where, like the purple lady thing. It's like, how did you? People I've trusted that I know are safe to have these stories. I haven't personally had anything that's just like changed my mind.
Yeah.
But then when you hear those purple lady stories of how did you know this? Like, is that
I think they're just pretty good grifters and they know the thing to say.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Maybe. You say the right thing. You learn how to say it right. It's just like the unexplained isn't just God all the time. The unexplained a lot of times just the unexplained.
Yeah, it was like my way on NJ Transit. I was battling demons on the way here. That definitely wasn't God.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole. I know I said that out loud, to be honest.
You got attacked by demons like Tucker Carlson?
No, I just really had a poop. And it was an hour 40 train ride, and the bathroom was clogged, and it was just, that wasn't God.
Yeah. Oh, in the LIE or something?
NJ or whatever. Transit. Same thing.
Yeah.
Well, all right. So. Do you have any last words?
No. If you liked any of those thoughts on positivity, and you want to see it done mentioned in the worst way possible about child death and school shootings, the love of anti-Semitism, heroin overdoses, then go see my special America's Sweetheart on Netflix right now. And
it's a 9/11
you get that same message, the Modest Mouse message.
As usual, I'll put all the links in the bio for anyone that wants to check out the special. I watched it a couple days ago. It honestly was very enjoyable.
Thank you. Thank you. Be careful who you watch it with, I would say. They're like it's a bit filthy.
Yeah, it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
It's definitely not for everyone. But if you like this episode, you have an idea, I think, of where things are going to go.
Of what?
Saying if they listen to this episode.
Yeah, exactly.
Forward,
yeah. My sense of humor is my sense of humor.
If people are still listening, then there's definitely enough of a disclosure. I think.
And I'm on tour right now, the farewell tour, before I leave the country for a while. Coming all over. Go to arishafir.com for tickets.
Hey, man, I'll plug that in. You got anything coming in LA? Anything else? Are you hitting LA?
Yeah, Brea in the beginning of the last day of January, first day of February, and then like I'm doing the storytelling show in LA on the 30th.
Sick. I'm gonna have to catch
you in town.
I'm deciding I might leave early next week, but it's TBD. We'll find out. But,
yeah, bring marshmallows.
Okay. On that note, bring marshmallows. Ari Shaffir, thank you so much, but I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
That was awesome, dude. Thank you so much.
Marshmallows because of the fire.
Okay.
I knew you didn't get it. I knew you didn't get it.
Right on my
I was like.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Dead Talks. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and also the notification bell. That'll give you updates as to when we post a new video, more episodes, and more content in general. We are streaming on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, and all that. And also find us on Instagram at Dead Talks Podcast or www.deadtalks.net. Thank you so much.